Alright, so when we were working with these, we were talking about distributing and following our rules for multiplication. So when we multiplied, we added our coefficient, or added our exponents. So if I look at number 13, when I distribute this, you do the negative 7 times 9, which is negative 63. With our variables, you have 3 c's and 2 c's. So 3 plus 2 gives you 5 altogether. With your d's, you have 2 here and 2 here. So you add those and it gives you 4 altogether. And then you have to take it to the other term. So negative 7 times negative 4. Negative times negative is positive 28. 3 c's here and 1 here. 3 plus 1 is 4. 2 d's here and 5 here. 2 plus 5 is 7. And so that's our final answer. Now I want to look at problems that involve a combination of things. So not simply distributing, but also combining like terms after we do that. So for instance, if I looked at number 15 here. Order of operations says that we have to multiply before we add and subtract. So when I look at this problem, I am starting with my multiplication. So if I distribute, we have our negative 2x times positive 3x. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. X times x gives us x squared. Then we have negative 2x times negative 4. So negative times negative makes positive. 2 times 4 is 8, so the x just stays along. That's my multiplication. This 7x, we weren't multiplying it, it's just added on the end, so it just comes down. What can you do at this point? Add the 8x and the 7x. We get negative 6x squared. Because these variables are the same, we add their coefficients. 8 plus 7 is 15. And remember, when you're adding, variables don't change. So it's negative 6x squared plus 15x. All right. Let's look at 17. So we start with our multiplication. Y times y would be what? Y times 4 is 4y. Right here, minus y. That's like plus a negative. We have to distribute a negative y. So negative y times y is negative y squared. Negative y times 3 is a positive 3y. And my negative 9y on the end, it wasn't multiplied with anything, so it just comes down. So now we combine like terms. Positive 1y squared and negative 1y squared. What happens with those? Those cancel, they're gone. Then my y's, 4y plus 3y minus 9y. So 4 plus 3 minus 9. Doesn't change. All right, you guys need to take a second, try 19 and 21. So 19, you have to start by distributing your 2y. So 2y times 6x, 2 times 6 is 12. Just keep the xy. 2y times negative 4x squared y. So 2 times negative 4 would be negative 8. We keep the x squared. Y times y would make a y squared. Then the other two terms, there's nothing multiplied with them, so they just come down. 13x squared y squared minus 6. We combine anything that's the same. So I have a 12xy and no other xy, so it just stays. Negative 8x squared y squared and positive 13x squared y squared. negative 8 plus 13, because that's 5. X squared, y squared. And then the minus 6, there's no other 6 or constant, so it just comes down. How'd you guys do on that one? Okay. Let's look at the next one. So if we distribute 3v times 7v, so 3 times 7 is 21, v times v is v squared. 3v times negative 2 is negative 6v. Let's distribute the 3, so 3v squared plus 6v plus 3. The last one we have to distribute the negative 3. So negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15v squared. Negative 3v times 3 is negative 9v. So like terms, 21v squared plus 3v squared plus 15v squared gives us 39v squared. Negative 6v, positive 6v, and negative 9v. So negative 6 plus 6 minus 9 is negative 9v. And then we just have our plus 3. Okay, do we need more examples like this? Do we understand what we're doing here? Multiplying and adding like terms? I would like to go to the bottom. So I'm just going to look at these two examples, and we're going to take a little break. We're going to have you guys do some problems, and then we'll come back and do a couple more things together. So, area of a trapezoid. A trapezoid looks like this. You have two parallel sides and these slanted legs. The area, if we ever had to find it, you'd be given a formula. On the EOC, they do these sometimes, but they always do give you a formula sheet. So in this formula, we have 1/2. H represents the height, which is how tall this thing was. So in our situation, the height is the 4x squared. Then in parentheses, b1 plus b2. That's when you add the bases. The bases are those two sides. So if I'm going to add them, let's see, do we have any like terms? So I have a 2x cubed. Do we have any other x cubes there? No, so it just stays. We have an 8x squared. Positive 3x and negative 1x is plus 2x. Alright, so if I'm going to work this out, first let's do 1/2 times 4x squared. So 1/2 times 4 is 2. So it'll be a 2x squared. Then we just have to distribute. So 2x squared times 2x cubed, 4x to the 5th. 2x squared times 8x squared. So 2 times 8 is 16. X to the 4th. 2x squared times 2x is 4x cubed. We'll do more of those later, but it's just our first time seeing a trapezoid and finding its area. Last one. There is going to be one of these on your homework. If I want to find the area of the shaded region, what we're going to do, if if I just want to get the shaded part, the easiest option would be to do the outside minus the inside. Find the whole thing and then subtract off that rectangle in the middle. If I wanted the outside area, how do you find the area of a rectangle? You had it on our last test. That's perimeter, so you're close. Yep, length times width or base times height, however you want to think about it. So for the outside, I have this side, which is 6x, times this one, so 8x minus 1. If I multiply that, that's 48x squared minus 6x. So that's the outside area. Inside area, so this little rectangle on the inside. Length times width or base times height. So we have 2x times 5x plus 3. So 2x times 5x is 10x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. And so then to find the overall area, we said the outside, so the big rectangle, minus the inside, the part we're cutting out. If we do that, what would I need to do with my subtraction sign? And then we just add like terms. So 48x squared and negative 10x squared. So 48 minus 10 is 38. The x squared doesn't change. Negative 6x and negative 6x. So negative 6 plus negative 6 is negative 12. The x doesn't change. And that would be our final answer. Alright, do not put your binders up. We are going to do more out of this. Friday, we ended with a handout that had you do 1 through 6. And I told you you could either put it in the front pocket of your binder or you could give it to me. So I will hand back the ones I have. 1 through 6 should already be done. What I want you to do now is 8 through 20 evens. So if I am asked to do a multiplication problem like this, it's different because I don't just have a single thing outside the parenthesis that I need to distribute. I have two parentheses I am trying to multiply together. So we have to work through this. What we are going to do is distribute everything in the first to everything in the second. So for instance, the first parenthesis I start with an x. I have to take an x times everything in the second. So x times x would be what? And then I have to take the x times 4. So that's 4x. Now I have to take the next thing in this parenthesis times everything in the second. So I have to take the 2 times the x. So that's a 2x. And then a 2 times a 4. So plus 8. A lot of times, when we're multiplying a binomial times a binomial, so that means 2 terms in each parenthesis, we call it FOIL. It's just kind of an acronym to help you remember what you're doing. You multiply the first things in each parenthesis, the outside things in each parenthesis, the inside things in each parenthesis, and the last things in each parenthesis. So first, outside, inside, last, FOIL. Now we just combine like terms. So we have x squared, 4x plus 2x, so 4 plus 2 is 6x plus 8. And that is our final answer. So if we look at another one of these together. Our trick to help us remember is FOIL. So we have to multiply the first things together. 2x times x is what? What do you get when you take 2x times x? I have to start calling on people. Nicole, what's 2x times x? 2x, 2. Yep. Okay. And then I take the outside. Hayden, what's 2x times negative 5? So 2 times negative 5 is?
Negative 10.
We have our x. Alright, Bailey, inside. What's 1 times x? Kale, last. What's 1 times negative 5? Alright, and then Aiden, combine like terms. So what do we get?
2x squared minus 9x minus 5.
Perfect. Alright. What questions do you guys have so far? Let's keep trying them. So down here. FOIL. So first, Jetta, what's y times y?
Wait, what is that?
Mm-hmm. Blair, outside, what's y times 1? Y to the first, or 1 times y, however you want to write it. Inside, Esther, what's 8 times y?
8, 1.
Holden, last, 8 times 1.
8.
And then Gabe, combine like terms, and we get?
Y squared plus 9y. That's 8.
Okay. And let's go down to number 3. So first, x times x is x squared. Riley, outside, x times negative 4.
Negative 4x.
Kylie, inside, negative 10 times x. And last, negative 10 times negative 4, positive 40. So combine like terms, we get x squared, negative 4 and negative 10 is negative 14x plus 40. Alright, I want you guys to try 5 and 7. I'm going to walk around, I want to see your answers, work those two out. So if you FOIL first, gives you 4x squared. Outside, 4x times 3 is 12x. Inside, negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Last, negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. So combine like terms, so we get 4x squared. Those are the same, so 12 minus 7 is 5x minus 21. This one, 3y times 3y is 9y squared. 3y times 2 is 6y. 1 times 3y is 3y. 1 times 2 is 2. So combine like terms. 9y squared plus 9y plus 2. Did very well on those when I was walking around. Only mistakes were really from a sign error, so not a big deal. What I'm going to do, we have like 8 minutes left of class. I'm going to give you a handout. You are not turning it in. You're going to put it in your binders when you finish because we're picking up with it tomorrow. Okay? And I want you guys to try some of these. If you would like to work with whoever you were working with previously, you may do so. I would like you to do 1 through 9. If you don't get those all done, that's okay. We'll pick up with it tomorrow. But put it in your binder when you're done.